Coming up, our team currently in California shares their thoughts on D23. Plus, well, actually, that's all we have on this week's episode of the Diz Unlimited podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special edition of the Diz Unlimited podcast for the week of August 17th, 2026. My name is John Magi, and I'll be your host. And we have an incredible team out in California this week covering all of D23. Really excited to get their thoughts and hear what their experiences were for this unbelievable event from what I saw. Out there, we have our Diz content team member and Disney Park correspondent, Chloe Ferrara.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Our Diz editor-in-chief, Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everyone.
President of the Diz, Corey Martin.
I'm just happy to be here.
It's like old times all over again. And our executive producer, Jimmy Valdez.
Hello.
Hi, guys. It's good to see you. It's good to see you up and about, to be honest with you. Before we jump into things, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys out in California. You did an awesome job. For those of us who are home and watching and following what was going on, it was really cool. You got so much content produced and you got stuff up in lightning speed, so it was awesome. From articles on the Diz, the Instagram posts and YouTube content, you guys did an awesome job. And I also want to say a big thank you to the folks who couldn't go, but who are helping from home. We had a great team supporting all of you, helping you guys work it out and feeling your pain as you were trying to get into panels and events. And oh my gosh, the reports of lines and crowds were just incredible. So thank you for all you guys did. We really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to talk to you today, especially before you all fall asleep. So we're going to get going. I've got a bunch of questions I want to ask you. I'm hoping you guys are up for some interrogation because those of us who couldn't go are excited to hear all about your time at D23. So I'm going to start with, let's see, spin the roulette wheel. I'm going to start with Corey. Corey, what announcement or experience surprised you the most at this year's event? There's a bunch going on. Some stuff we didn't see, we were hoping for, but what was the one thing that sort of you saw and heard that was the biggest surprise for you?
Surprises, I think it was the Honda Center. Like I enjoyed all three nights and day there, nights and or days. But the it's weird. Like I was looking forward to like the Disney experiences. And I enjoyed like the Disney entertainment night the best, and looking forward to some of these movies coming out. And when they revealed Coco 2, and you see Miguel as a teenager, that was like whoa! It's like he grew up, you know. When Josh Gad came out and he sang his song to Samantha, his new girlfriend, Olaf to his new girlfriend Samantha, I thought that was cute. Yeah, really, all three Honda Center panels were incredible. I enjoyed that the most. I enjoyed the reveal of the characters, the Disney characters on the Tropical of America carousel, specifically Heimlich. I get to ride him again. You know, he's no longer at Bugs Land. Yeah. So the Heimlich choo-choo train, I get to ride him again, so that's cool. Yeah, really, it was most of the announcements over there. Not like breaking news, but you know, knowing that the Yeti's coming back, that's great. The Figment overlay, the Dreamfinder's coming back, but we didn't.
So really I don't know if you know this. I asked you for one thing. So as usual, can't follow direction. Can't just give me one answer. But what I'd like you to do before I move on to someone else. That was a tough question. I told you these are going to be hard hitting. Before we move on to somebody else, I would like you to do your Heimlich for us.
I love candy corn.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Excellent. All right, Jackie, I'm going to move on to you. Same question. What was the one surprise or announcement that really was shocking to you? What was surprised you the most?
So I struggled with this one too. It's really funny. And I said to Chloe this morning, I'm not sure if anything like specifically surprised me, but I'm going to go with the Figment announcement. So the reason why is because that happened at the end, at the absolute very end of the parts panel on Saturday night. And it was as if like people were getting up to leave the Honda Center. And then they sort of just casually threw it in as a, oh, hey, by the way. And the funniest thing for me, so I never saw the original well, the second iteration of that attraction. I never saw it, or no, the first, I guess it's the first one, because my first visit to Walt Disney World wasn't until 2008. But because of all of the, um, you know, discouraged fans and, just so much negativity around what they did to that attraction, I am so surprised that they're finally going to bring it back to its original glory. And I mean, quite honestly, I'm really excited about it because there were so many people. There have been so many people for so many years that have been so incredibly upset about it that I can hardly wait to see what it is that all the fuss is about.
So, for those of us at home, the weird thing was it was kind of like an afterthought. It was like, oh, we're going to talk about all these things. And then all of a sudden, the last thing is, we're bringing back Figment and we're bringing back Dreamfinder to Epcot. So there wasn't any specifics about when this was going to happen or exactly what it was going to be. So it was kind of a little bit of a weird tease, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But for the Figment fans out there, I think they all thought it was cool. Chloe, what about you? Big
My
surprise.
one.
All right. I love it. Chloe knows how to pay attention. Okay.
I'm going to go with the unofficial revival of Snow White's Scary Adventures in Villains Land, because we didn't know obviously what exactly the attraction lineup was going to be for Villains Land. I love that they're still calling it Villains Land too. Why ruin a good thing? And it fits Magic Kingdom's land lineup. But the dark haunted forest with those spooky trees as you enter Villains Land, and then the second attraction is the dark ride that goes to the catacombs underneath the Evil Queen's lair. And there's other villains incorporated into that, but Snow White's Scary Adventures was a big part of my childhood at Walt Disney World. And so to see it back in some semblance, that was really surprising for me to see. And I'm very, very, very excited for Villains Land. So that's my one. I could go on, right, but just one.
Thank you. I agree. I thought that was a huge, cool announcement, previewing the rides and showing us a little bit of the artwork that was associated with it. And I think it was funny. Like, it was like, we're going to call it Villains Land. Well, that's what the fans have been calling it for a couple of years now. So it's like, oh, there you go. Good imagination. Jimmy, what about you? What's the experience or announcement that surprised you the most from the D23 weekend?
I'm going to go with something different. I will say the Figment announcement, but I'm going to say Spaceship Earth. That's something that I talk about during the predictions show we did, and I knew that was in their plans, but I thought that they were just going to be adding new scenes or changing scenes. But in this case, they said that they were going to change the topic, you could say, from human communication to human connections. So we'll see. We were talking about that with Corey, and we're all kind of connected by communication, right? So it's still similar. It's going to be a a similar theme. But I would like to see what they're gonna be doing. If they're gonna be updating the whole thing, they're gonna be changing a lot of the scenes. They're gonna be adding stuff at the end to update it to modern times. But yeah, that's an attraction that I really really enjoy. I love it, and I want to see what they're gonna be doing.
What's interesting about the Spaceship Earth was, like, I think collectively the entire Disney community went, "Oh no, don't touch Spaceship Earth." We're all still in a little bit of shock over Carousel Progress, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They didn't make it sound like there was going to be a big overhaul, like everything was going to go, let's scrap it and let's bring it back. It sounded like it might be a few tweaks and a little bit of maybe dusting off. So that's an exciting thing for fans, just a refresh of it, we hope. All right. So now my follow-up question to that was about what surprised you. I want to know what was the coolest thing you saw at D23? We were watching the big panel, the Carousel Progress panel, and there were a lot of things that happened that were very cool. So, and also a little weird, but very cool. So I'm wondering, what throughout the weekend did you think was the coolest thing? I'm going to start with Chloe this time. We'll go a little bit backwards. So Chloe,
No.
what do you think?
I have like three things that come into my mind.
All right.
I have to narrow it down to one. I can't spitball and then decide on one.
Sure, you can spitball. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, the production value of the Horizons Experience Showcase was the best that they've ever put on. And I absolutely love whenever Disney pokes fun at themselves. So like Neil Patrick Harris, talking about the animatronics and the Ellen animatronic that was out there, the like weird Ellen animatronic from Ellen's Energy Adventure. And when he called out Walt Disney World's Hatbox Ghost being in the wrong location, which is like preaching. But I'm also like, okay, you're aware of it, so why don't you fix it? But whatever. One of my highlights of the weekend, the coolest experiences, I love whenever Joe Rohde speaks. That man is so intelligent, so smart. And I was just talking to him, we had dinner last night. I was talking about how I feel like he says things that I've already figured out in my brain, but I don't have the capacity to communicate it. So when it comes to theming and the way and why they set things up in theme parks and why it works for people, the storytelling, the teamwork behind it, everything that he talks about just clicks in my mind. And I'm like, I feel like I know what you're saying, but I cannot communicate this. So just hearing him speak, and he's just a fantastic Imagineer person. He just is such a real person too. So I love seeing his, he's talking about his new book, Floating Mountains, which apparently no one could get their hands on. Jimmy tried to go get the book at the expo a few times, but he was talking about the book, and it's much more than just the Floating Mountains in Pandora. Floating Mountains is collectively, the projects that he's worked on, getting to know him on a personal level, and the teamwork that it takes behind these creations. So it's kind of like a diary. There's a lot of imagery and a lot of photos from his travels, and he breaks down theming, like I said. So that was just really, really interesting to attend that and to hear it from him. Makes me want to go out and buy the book ASAP, since I couldn't get my hands on it at the expo. And then I also really enjoyed World Builders. We had an advanced screening yesterday. It's the new Leslie Iwerks documentary on Disney Plus next week, August 20th. But she sat down with Kevin Feige of Marvel, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni of Star Wars, Jared Bush from Disney, and Pete Docter of Pixar. And they were 5 of the head people of those Disney companies that are featured in the film, along with some others. And so to hear their personal stories of going to the parks and, creating these stories and what makes them tick was also really, really cool before watching the film. So I'll leave it there for now.
I have chills about that.
Yeah, it was good.
There was a lot of cool stuff. I agree. I mean, you hit on a bunch of the things that, really highlights. Jackie, what about you? What was the coolest thing you saw or experienced?
So you guys know that I am all about the fantasy land part of everything, right? So I love the movie Enchanted. I've loved it since the absolute first moment I saw that movie. And so I signed up for the 20 Years of Enchantment or 20 Years of Enchanted, a love letter to Disney panel. And the panel featured the film's director, Kevin Lima, and host Nina West was there, and she is just a riot and a half. So loved that. They shared almost 150 Easter eggs that were intentionally put into that movie. And I've seen that movie countless times. And there were things in there, so many things that I didn't notice in any of the times I've watched the film. So that was really fun. But the biggest surprise of all during that panel was that Amy Adams was actually there, and I had a really big fangirl moment because I love her and I love the part that she played, and she is just a doll. And she performed, they did a group sing along with the audience, and Alan Menken came out and Kevin Lima sang and Nina West sang too, and then Disney legends Paige O'Hara and Judy Kuhn also. So it was a big group sing along, and it was the most fun ever. Like, I loved it so much. So that was definitely my that was the coolest thing for me.
Your
Amy
coolest
Adams
moment.
is a treasure.
It was awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, those folks who don't know, Nina West is a local celebrity. She's a drag queen from Orlando. And I got to tell you something, this is possibly the gayest D23 I've ever seen in my life. You had Neil Patrick Harris, you had Tig Notaro, you had Gloria Gaynor, you had Nina West. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So it was a
Such
lot of fun
talented
to watch.
people.
Really talented people. Corey, what about you? What was the coolest thing you got a chance to see? Oh, but by the way, Corey, just want to let you know, uh, based on the fact that Disney celebrated, fixing the Yeti with a performance by Gloria Gaynor, I'm going to hire her every time you fix something on our website. Just saying.
All
That's
right,
my
I will
plan.
survive that. All right.
All right, good job. What about you, Corey? Coolest thing?
Well, I think it's like just the amount of celebrity appearances that showed up. Because and every time one would come out, just hearing the audience go crazy. I really can't hear out my right ear right now. I had two ladies next to me at the Legends ceremony award show. And they were screaming, screaming, screaming. But I think just the amount of celebrity appearances at the Honda Center. I mean, I love Anne Hathaway and seeing Harrison Ford come out, and it just never stopped. But so that's one. I'm just kind of piggybacking. So here's my one: the Horizons Imagineering Pavilion inside the expo. Being able to actually physically see what Piston Peak is going to look like, and in relation to it's one thing to look at a map, but it's another thing to see it like on this big scale and say, all right, well, this is where Haunted Mansion is. This is where Thunder Mountain is. This is where the old entrance to the riverboat was. And so, kind of picturing yourself walk into Liberty Square and then knowing where you can enter. I enjoyed that whole pavilion was great, but I'm more domestic stuff. It's great to see what Shanghai's getting and Disneyland Paris. I'm more interested in the enhancements of Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a parks guy, so it's like just to see the stuff, especially for World, was very, very exciting. It must have been very cool to see those models up close. I mean, just the filming of them and the show, people showing them on social media was pretty cool. Jimmy, what about you? Coolest thing?
Look, I love movies, so I was going to say the same thing that Corey said. I will never take for granted how lucky I am, and I was looking at all these celebrities in front of me, and I was just thinking, I love my job. I don't, it's crazy that I get to do this as a job and have all these opportunities. And I was talking to my brother and letting him know how many I've seen. We grew up watching movies like, for example, 101 Dalmatians and seeing Glenn Close coming out and as Cruella de Vil. I can't believe that I'm seeing this now. And I'm a big Marvel fan, so seeing Robert Downey Jr. with Chris Evans and Haley Atwell, and Harrison Ford and The Rock. Yeah, and we with my brother we used to watch How I Met Your Mother a lot. So Neil Patrick Harris, seeing him perform that brilliant intro number that it was like 8 minutes long or something like that. It was crazy. He's the best when it comes to that. I remember watching the Tony Awards years ago, and he did a number that was, for me, was incredible. So having the chance to see him live perform, and with John Stamos coming out, two of the biggest Disney fans in Hollywood that we know. So, and having that crossover between them. But yeah, I have to say that felt so, I couldn't believe that I was sitting there seeing all these people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that it's got to be a completely different experience when you're there in person, right? The energy feels different and the crowd is different, but then it's like seeing these folks come out in front of you. At home, we're kind of like, there's Anne Hathaway.
Exactly.
I mean, it seems like we're jaded, but it didn't seem as big. I imagine being there is an awesome, awesome experience. I'm glad you got a chance to experience that, Jimmy. All right. So with the whole weekend behind us, just a little bit of how the sausage is made for folks at home. We have a group chat within our organization that we're all talking to each other. And these guys are communicating, where are you? Where are you going next? What are you going to go see? What are you going to go do? I was stressed out by the event that was going on. I kept thinking, oh my God, I know I would like to have been there, but I'm glad I wasn't there. It's not my scene anymore. But with it all behind us, with the weekend behind us, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how Disney did. How did they run the event? How were other fans? Give me sort of an overview of how that felt to you. I'm going to start with Corey this time. Give me an overview.
An overview. Well, I think this event made me question the expo specifically. It made me question if I am actually an ultimate Disney fan, because the lines were crazy. And I'm like, I'm not waiting in that. These are like, so I walked away going, Corey, are you really an ultimate Disney fan since you're not waiting in this 2-hour line or 3-hour line to go get a shirt or this or that? And so I didn't wait in a single line. I just kind of went and experienced everything that you were able to walk in and stuff like that. But I think, I walked away questioning if I'm a fan of it.
Your fandom, actually.
I am. I'm just joking. Yeah.
I know.
I'm just not a fan of lines.
Yeah. We talk about this a lot on the regular show because we have people of different ages on our show. And I think, Corey, you're reaching a certain age in your life where you think to yourself, boy, do I really want to wait all this time in line to buy something that I probably don't need and might not enjoy past, the event itself? I see a lot of that. And then there was the video of I don't know if it was the first day for merchandise where they started calling groups and everybody rushed the door. And I thought, I don't know. I mean, it's just frightening almost, but it's part of the event. Jimmy, what about you? What do you think? How do you think Disney handled it? How do you think things went as far as, the events were and the panels went and the crowds?
So I think for the panels, the thing that happened this weekend, and it's something that is out of Disney sense, right? Is that at the same time that the Honda Center was presenting the panels, there were some baseball games happening. So the problem was that they had some shuttles coming and going from the arena to the Honda Center, and they couldn't get here or there because of the traffic. It was cut. So that happened the 3 days that they were doing the panels. So, but that's something again that Disney couldn't, they couldn't know that when they announced the dates. So, but I think they are really, at least they came to us and say they were sorry and thank you for your patience. So they were trying to, get everyone, like they wanted to know people to know what was going on, and that the shuttles were coming, and trying to they started giving us free coffee and free stuff. So free they gave me like three small packets of Oswald cards and 4 coffees of Dr. Doom. So I was like, I'm fine. Okay, I'll wait. But yeah, so yeah. But inside the exhibition hall, I would say, it's getting too stressful at this point to try to buy merch. You have to wake up at 5 in the morning, 5:30. So at 6 a.m., you need to be ready with your phone in your hand to press a button to get in a virtual queue to buy a shirt that or whatever they're selling. Right? It's getting now it's crazy. And we come here because we need to cover stuff. We need to work. So we don't have the time to get in line and wait 4 hours to buy something, or 5 hours. I only got in line for one thing that I really, really wanted to buy, which was the Walt Disney statue by Iron Studios, the 1/10 scale statue. And that's the only thing that I did. And it was a short line. It took me 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So, but yeah, the rest, no. I'm a huge Disney fan, but it's impossible. It's getting very hard to do. And if you're coming here and you're spending your money on a ticket, I want to go and see, and the experiences that they have, the panels, and that too. The fact that you have to, it's a lottery to get a spot to enter one of these amazing panels. Like, for example, yesterday I was dying to go inside to the Alan Menken concert, but I couldn't because I didn't have a reservation. And if you wanted to get a standby spot, you had to go there 4 or 5 hours in advance and wait. So yeah, that's something that's happening, and I don't know how Disney could improve that, to be honest, because so much people are coming to this event. So yeah, it's hard. I know it's hard. I don't know if maybe it will benefit of adding one more day like Comic-Con does. San Diego Comic-Con, they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I don't know, maybe, and spread it out a bit more. But yeah, who knows?
I think one of the problems is we know this for a fact that there's a lot of resellers. So there are people who are doing this to buy merchandise to resell online, and they're making money on it. And I think that kind of spoils the experience, because you want to get one thing or two things, and I saw people with piles of bags, and you just think to yourself, that's not fair. That's really not fair. All right, so let's move on to Jackie. Jackie, what did you think of the experience of the weekend as a whole?
So, kind of tagging along to what Jimmy said, I'm a huge fan of this event. I'm a big Disney fan. I love it. I live for it. But I am not a fan of waking up at 6 a.m. Before 6 a.m. every single day of the event, like Jimmy said. I I just think that that's the most insane thing, to attempt to get a virtual queue to shop. Like, it not only is 6 a.m. far too early, but you can only register for one store. So you have to pick only one. And I think it's crazy. You're basically, like Jimmy said, you're playing the lottery to see if you can win the chance to give your money to Disney for these products that they have us so excited about. The other thing is that the virtual queues, they filled within moments, not even seconds, but moments. Because if you didn't hit that join queue, you had to hit twice, because you had to confirm your party, and then you had to hit to join. You had to do it twice within half a moment, or you were out of luck. And that was just the end of it. Like,
Nothing else is open at that point.
Yeah.
You couldn't go back to the page and join a different thing that was open still.
because if you went back to that page, everything was gone. That's what happened to both of us the first day. We couldn't get into any shop the first day of the event. It's rough out there for fans who want to buy this stuff. I mean, it's rough, and like I didn't get into the Walt Disney Company store because I wanted to buy the coffee mug from that shop. I'm hoping it's going to go online, but I don't know if it will. Hopefully, it will. There are some things that I wanted to buy here this weekend that are actually already available on the online Disney stores. Zoe had them on her Monday merch meeting today, and so there was a couple of Alice in Wonderland things, and I'm excited about that. But man, and the thing that made me so upset yesterday, the Walt Disney Company store closed early. They closed by like 4 or 5. And
The line was
what in
the
the world?
standby loan closed by 5 o'clock yesterday when the event closed at 8 because I went up to try and get in line because that was the one shop I didn't get into either.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way the standby line is 3 hours long, but okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like, and you're looking in there and you can see all the merch sitting on the shelves. And it's, I mean, I don't want to say heartbreaking because that's a little maybe excessive. It's just merchandise, right? But it's upsetting because you want these things and I don't know what they could do. Like Jimmy said, I don't know what else they could do to make this better. There's a lot of people, but I do agree that adding a fourth day to it, that might spread the crowds out just a bit more. I mean, maybe that's something they should consider for the next one.
Yeah, maybe. Chloe, what about you?
What
are your thoughts on that?
The virtual queue thing is a big problem because what you were talking about, John, there's actually people with computers that join the virtual queue for them. And the thing about it is you don't have to have a D23 badge in order to join the virtual queue. So if you have a D23 login, which you can get it for free, if you have a Disney login, you can get that for free. You can join any of those virtual queues. And people were actually selling those spots for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to get into.
I heard that.
To get into Mickey's of Glendale. And that's a big, big problem. And I'm sorry, you can't tell me Disney is not aware of that. And to be frank, I feel like they don't care because people are going in and buying the stuff and that's what they ultimately want. They want to sell out of the things that they created. They want the event to be really busy and to look like it's very successful. But it's really wearing on the fans. I heard nonstop all weekend people complaining about that they couldn't get into the panels and the concerts that they wanted to go to. They couldn't get the merchandise, the one thing that they wanted to get because they couldn't get the virtual queue. Things never opened up for standby or things sold out by the time they could get in. And it's really sad because people spend a lot of money to fly here, stay here, and get into the event, sometimes a lot more than the tickets were originally posted for. So it's just hard to go through all of it. It's a little exhausting, honestly. And I don't know how they can fix it because this felt like, I mean, this and I think the year prior, 2 years ago, these feel like oversold events. And one thing that I know we're going to talk about what we feel like could kind of improve it in the future. One thing that was blaringly missing to me and a lot of people I talked to was this was the year that they removed the Emporium side of the convention hall. And that Emporium Marketplace was such a good balance of the fandom with Disney's big, pavilions, all the Hulu, the Marvel, the Simpsons, the Bluey movie, the Box Lunch, and all those big companies were on one side. And then there was, maybe a quarter or a third of the convention hall that had the Emporium side with collectors and vintage pieces and props from theme park rides. And I really missed that part. That was honestly, D23 came from all those old Disneyana conventions. And that was a part of it. There's a warmth there that was definitely lacking this year. And when you couldn't get into Mickey's of Glendale for the third day in a row, you didn't have something else to kind of fall back in love with being a Disney fan. A lot of people were commiserating together this weekend rather than, I found a few moments where, I was somehow reunited with a friend from VMK 20 years ago. I met for the first time here. That was insane. I met up with people to trade. I bought Muppet blind bags. So I still had a good few moments with like-minded Disney fans. And that's what is the biggest part of this event, is sitting there in the Honda Center and, walking to this convention center with like-minded fans that loved this company so much. But it gets discouraging when, you can't access the things that you should be able to by paying your way into the event. I also think they need to schedule the big presentations and the concerts not at the same time as the Honda Center, because both Rewind concerts were during Honda Center events. So if you had a Honda Center ticket, which, if you had it, why wouldn't you go to the Legends ceremony or the Big Parks panel? You also missed out on those really cool Rewind concerts, and I wanted to go to them. Thankfully I had the team attending the entertainment showcase on Friday, but I would have had to have missed the really cool conversation with Paul Williams and Seth MacFarlane talking about the Muppets on Friday night. I don't like how they double schedule that. I feel like for the money, you should be able to pick and choose what you truly want to do as a fan. I understand making some concessions here and there, but yeah, overall, I feel like this event has gotten too big, and I don't know how they could make it better, and other than expanding it by, I was even thinking a week-long event.
Yeah.
And people just have to choose which, day 2 or 3 or 4 makes sense for them to attend. And I don't know, man, because even if they lessen, if they don't oversell it and they cap it, it's going to be even harder to get into the event. So people will think that's unfair from home. So I don't know.
It's rough out there.
It is.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was. We got
into the Imagineering pavilion a little bit early to get a little sneak peek of some things they had announced the night before. And the one thing I wanted to go do was the Pixar experience, walk through Andy's room and stuff like that. And mainly so I can show Ferris and the family. But I was like, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go get in line. I'll be first. I got there. It was wrapping around the whole building. I mean, it was wrapping around the whole thing. I was like, what? It's like, all right, never mind. All right. Took some photos with some statues. Oh, and speaking of statues, like I sent this to Julie. I'm like, this is a line of people waiting to take a photo with Anna and Elsa.
A statue of Anna and Elsa.
I'm like, I just, yeah, just
funny.
I told her, I said, hey, look, I said, I usually come back like with stuff from events like this, but I had to like prove like these are the lines for the merch. So after this a recording, I'm going to Disneyland and I'll bring them something from the park, not like D23, but yeah.
That was the other thing. I had one more thing. I'm so sorry. I'll keep it short.
It's okay.
So even based on your luck of getting into panels, whether you're standbying for 2 or 3 hours, you're lucky enough to get an RSP that you registered for, 90% of the panels I attended, which was very few, you did not get anything on the way out. And as D23 attendees, you're conditioned that you're going to get a poster, a pin, some kind of special thing on your way out to show that you attended this special panel and here's a little keepsake for you. And for it to be so hard to get into these things and tickets are more expensive than ever, it's so hard as a fan to walk out with nothing. The parks or experiences presentation, I remember, I think it was two D23s ago, where they gave us Portos pastries because they announced Portos for Downtown Disney, which still hasn't opened. They gave us a Lena Bell pin because they introduced her as a character. We got a Target Disney themed gift card because of the whole Disney Store collaboration. And this year we got nothing. We got light up bracelets that only work at the Honda Center that go with the show, which is, that's fun. But yeah, just I know it's small and silly seemingly, but it goes a long way when they start to take stuff away like that. And there was also something for the random selection process that you had to get a reservation for, was like something like the Pixar ball, or the Disney Animation Studios pennants in the convention center. You could see people getting them. And I walked up and I said, hey, I added this to my reservations, but I didn't get one. Are you going to have a standby? And they're like, nope, it's only if you had a reservation. So even free handouts in the convention hall, if you didn't get randomly chosen, you couldn't pick up something like a little felt pennant. And I just think that's silly. That's all.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw some people were talking about leaving specific panels and they were given things and, some of these trading cards and stuff, but it sounds to me like it wasn't everything, which is, disappointing because you think you're paying for it, you're going to it, you deserve to have the thing that people are getting. It kind of makes it not seem fair. I'm going to give I want to just give folks a little bit of background, a little bit, again, how the sausage is made. we received an invite for this for the travel agency for Dreams Unlimited Travel, and that is what Corey and Jimmy traveled under, or attended under, I should say. Jackie got an invite for media through the Diz, and we just sent Chloe. Say, Chloe, get a ticket and go. And as a result, there were different things happening, right? We were under the impression that the travel agent invite might have given us more access than it did, and Jackie would have gotten more access than it did. So I'm going to ask you guys this: given how it went this year, do we do it again? Is it worth going to, especially because announcements seem to be made in the moment and information is coming out? You don't have to be there to sort of be the catch it in the moment type of information. I'm going to go to Corey. Corey, what do you think? Is it worth going again next year? Not next year, next time?
Yes, I would do things a little different. I would probably only go to the expo one day. I'd walk around, do my thing, check out some displays that have no lines, like the Disney archives. That was cool. I could, there was no line to get in. You just kind of walk around, check things out. But what I came away from this, like with the Honda Center, that was like a light at the end of the tunnel. So if you knew you were going there, you knew it was going to be awesome, because Disney knows how to put on a show. So every day, every night, I left like on a high note. First day I knew, I tried to get a virtual queue for Chloe. There was something she wanted, and woke up. I set my alarm for 6, and it was all taken. I was like, all right, I'm not trying that again. And so I'm not sorry. But knowing that the Honda Center was there at the end of the day, and you left that, and you kind of had like some pep in your step, I would do it again, but I would just mainly focus on going to the Honda Center, and I would actually probably just stay near it, and then just take a shuttle or whatever to the expo for a day to walk around. But it's kind of cool being in the environment, and you're seeing everybody dressed up, and some massive ultimate Disney fans, and the stuff that they put into their costumes and all that, like the cosplay. That's really cool to see, and you don't have to wait in line to see that. You're walking past you. So I would do it again. I would just do it a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's some things we would do different. Jimmy, a lot of the work fell on you, right? You were doing a lot of the videotaping and putting stuff up. Not that to diminish from anybody else. Everybody was working hard. Is it worth it? Do we do it again? Do we go next time?
Well, I think first of all, the fact that you get to see all the previews for what's coming to the parks, like for example, the model of Piston Peak, and the model for the Avatar Land coming to DCA, and all those things that you wouldn't be able to see if you don't attend this event. I think that makes it worth it for us, for the type of work that we do. And there's stuff that they're showing during the panels that they don't release online. There's some concept arts or videos that are exclusive for the event. So that is something that I think is worth it. Then again, because of what we do and what we try to cover. But yeah, and also there's an energy here at in this event that it's very difficult to describe. It's even though I was sleeping 3-4 hours a night, I woke up excited to go again. And and I was like, yesterday I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go to the Legends panel and go back to the hotel to keep working and editing, and I'll call it a day. And just relax for a while now. And I couldn't do it. I finished doing what I had to do, uploaded that video, and ran to the expo again. So but yeah, I think it's worth it. What you're saying is true. it was a bit stressful for me to see that people were able to post stuff from their home even faster than we could, because you don't have great connection inside the Honda Center with all that people around you. But being there and being able to say and to show that you were there in that space where things were happening, right? Where these big announcements were happening. And at the same time, I think that what they're doing, Disney's doing, is there's a big D23 with big announcements, and the next one will be about expanding on what they've already announced. So this was that D23. The last one was the one where we got Monstropolis, Piston Peak, and the Lion King Land, and so much. And this one was more about expanding on what they already announced. So the next one, I think we're gonna be getting more announcements.
Okay. All right. So Jackie and Chloe, but Jackie, you are more on the written side of the house. You write the articles and Chloe writes them, but you're in charge of collecting the written information and making sure it goes up. From that perspective, is it worth it? Do we do it again? Or can you get the same information from, being someone at home and watching this stuff unfold and reading the announcements?
I honestly feel like there is a different vibe when you're here. You're right in the excitement. If what we do was just getting the info and getting it out there, sure, we could get it from other places, but it comes across differently when you're here, and there are so many moments that are just pure magic when you're here that gives us the content to continue writing. We're going to have content for quite a while from this event to write about. It's not just the big things that were announced. It's all of the little things that were just so cool to be in that moment, to be in the same room with an actor or an actress that we've loved since the moment they started showing up on the screen. It's those kind of moments. It's walking into somebody who gets so excited because you're so excited about the costume that they're wearing because it's just absolutely incredible. I think that the value for that type of content is important to share from the event. And I feel like there's so many people that just say, this is what Disney said, this is what they showed, and push it out. But I think that personal spin on everything is what sets it apart. So I really think it's worth going. I think we just have to manage our expectations. No, we're not going to get into every single thing we want to, but make the most out of those things that we do get into so that we
I
can share
agree.
them.
Yeah. And maybe approach it a little bit different. Chloe, same question to you, but I'm going to put a spin on it. All right. Do you go again as a fan? You're not working, you're not trying to get everything out. As a fan, is it worth this cost and time and possible stress to go again the next time?
I was talking about this with friends actually. As a fan, currently, as it was run this weekend, I wouldn't go, to be honest. It was special to be, like everyone said, to be in the Imagineering Pavilion and to have the opportunity to purchase exclusive merchandise. But for the cost to get in and the headache of, I need a vacation after this. It's nonstop. And even if I wasn't working it, it's still exhausting. You're walking miles and miles a day in this convention center to the Honda Center and back. And I guess it really depends on what you value in this event. I could see going to the Honda Center and maybe a day of the convention center, but that would mean that I would need some kind of guarantee that I'm going to get into the shops and panels that I want at the convention center. So there needs to be some tweaking before I find the value in doing this as a fan, to be honest.
I understand. Go ahead.
And I want to jump in real quick. And going on what Chloe said, there's so many different segments of Disney fandom. There was a whole section of people just trading cards. That they just sat there and traded cards the whole day, and so they may leave and say, "Wow, that was incredible. I was able to, trade cards with so many different people. I was able to get new cards." And the same thing with pin trading. And, some people, like I told you earlier, their big thing was their costumes and getting into those contests and taking photos with people. So it's really about what you're into, and you'll find it here. You'll find that little section that you're into. Maybe you're into everything and you're going to be exhausted if you are. But yeah, I saw a lot of smiling faces, even waiting in line.
Well, that's important, right? We want people to have fun. You want people to be excited about it. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to present with you guys with one final question before we go. You are now in charge of D23. Whoever the person is who runs it, they have been replaced by you. What's the one thing you would change for next year? What's the one big tweak you would make? I'm going to start with Jackie.
So I, like Chloe mentioned earlier in this show, I really missed the Emporium. That is such a huge, huge loss. Being able to just peruse, even if you don't buy anything, it's a huge loss. I would absolutely bring that back because this is a Disney fan event. And everyone who had a booth in that Emporium were Disney fans. And that's what this is all about. The brands are important. We want to see the cake worthy stuff. We want to see Her Universe. We want to see Bobble Bar. We want to see Pandora. But the Disney fans at the core of all of this, it just means so much. It was very commercialized. I would change that. I know that makes the company money. I know that those brands pay to be here. I get it. I know it's all about that bottom line. I get it. But this is a Disney fan event. We need to bring back the things that the fans crave. That's what I do.
Excellent. Jimmy, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go to you next. What's the thing you change as being in charge of this event for next time that they run it?
Well, I would change the virtual queue system. I'm like, Chloe was saying, the fact that people can access virtual queues without even being here, without having a ticket for the event, is crazy. I don't know how that happens. And, giving people the chance to sell them their spots and all that, it's something that Disney needs to control. So yeah, I think they should go back to the virtual queue system they're using and redo it, do something different next time. But yeah, I'm completely I'm with Jackie on what she said too. I came to the D23 in 2015, and the Emporium was one of the the sections that I enjoy the most. You could see, you can only use there was people selling stuff, but there was also these tables with some talents. Like, for example, I got to meet that year Bill Farmer and Jim Cummings, and asked them to even record a message for I had when you called me, Bill Farmer used to say with his goofy voice that Jimmy wasn't here, but so that kind of stuff was so unique. And and I went back that year going crazy about the fact that I was able to meet these people and to be around so many Disney fans and to buy stuff that wasn't necessarily Disney official stuff, but that was so cool. So yeah, I will say, if I had to change something, it would be that and Emporium, virtual queues and Emporium.
All right, Corey, what about you? What would you change?
It's the same topic. I mentioned the lines, and I don't know how to fix that with the amount of people coming, and obviously the virtual queue. If maybe they could guarantee, if you have a ticket, that you're guaranteed a virtual queue. Your time may vary, but maybe if you know you're guaranteed one with your ticket, I think that would be helpful. Maybe you decide a month before you come which one you're going to choose, but I don't know. I don't know how you can fix the lines, the standby lines. They're just, it is what it is. But like with the Emporium, having more areas to walk around without standing in line, that was really nice. And that's why I went into the Imagineering Pavilion so many times. It was crowded, but you can work your way up to the front if you're patient. And then like the Walt Disney Archives, that was just, it was an open space. You can walk at your own leisure. And I enjoy more of that. And so, yeah, I guess it's just more about crowd control, really.
Yeah. And you think Disney could do it better, right? Chloe, I'm giving you the last word. What would you change? You're in charge.
Jackie already went over it, but the Emporium was my biggest letdown this year. When I heard that this is going to be the biggest D23 Ultimate Disney Fan event ever, and then they came out with a statement that they're removing the Emporium to better utilize the space, and they said it was a hard decision. I'm sorry. I was in there. Towards the end of the Sunday portion, I was doing the Hulu pin quest. It was when you went around to these 16 different activations promoting different shows and movies from Disney Plus and Hulu, and you had to get a stamp on your card, and you could do it a few times to get a mystery pin pouch. It was cute, but people were literally just there to get free pins. And this Hulu footprint in the convention hall is huge. They could have done a mini marketplace right there. There were a lot of spaces that I noticed that were just kind of just not done up all the way that they could have been. And I feel like a lot of space is stretched on more than they should have, that could have been better utilized to store more merch lines or to store different areas. And I feel like I've already said it. I feel like the Emporium was a big loss this year, and they need to bring that back. That's what I would do first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. I have one more thing. John, this question is for you. What is the only one announcement that you were maybe looking forward to, that you had like maybe in your head predicted that we did not get?
All right. So, Jimmy, we're going to go another hour, just so you know. Be prepared. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we did our prediction show before everybody headed out there, and I swung for the fences, and I said, we're going to get some big announcements, and we didn't. We got tiny little teasers. Figment's going to be redone with no start date or end date. Tomorrowland and Disneyland, going to be redone with no big, firm commitment on anything. But I think the biggest thing I was most disappointed in was there was an additional Disney Cruise Line information coming out. We saw the statue in the lobby, very cool. I think it's great that it's going to be Moana. I love that the stuff on the back of the ship and Tinkerbell is going to be on the front. But they did this thing where they said, we're going to, Tinkerbell. So they did this thing where they said, we're going to, show you the next class of ship. And it was like a drawing of the hull.
Yeah. I kept watching. I was like, this is a nothing burger. There's nothing here.
It was like, here's the new dynamics of the hull. It's like, oh, come on, guys. Really? This is ridiculous. So that was, to me, the thing that I was really hoping for. I don't know, names, maybe the next name after the Believe, but yeah, that's what got me. But I got to tell you, being a fan of it and being at home and watching the stuff come in was very cool, very exciting. Being able to watch some of it on Disney Plus was a cool thing. No secret to it. We never could have gone this year. And, we got to watch the Princess concert on Disney Plus. And it was special for us to watch that because we knew we'd never get a chance to see that. So I give Disney kudos for that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I like that.
That was awesome. So, again, thank you guys very much for taking the time out and doing this with me, because I know you're tired, except for Jimmy, who's going to run to the parks again and, I don't know, do something.
Yeah. I have like just 5% of his energy, and he didn't give it to me. Very
I
disappointing.
know.
I haven't been on this show in 2 years, and we're going to do a morning podcast. All right.
Welcome back. All right. Again, thank you guys. Thank you everybody at home for listening and watching. We truly appreciate it. And that'll do it for this episode of the Dis Unlimited.